This is a place where every drop of water decides who lives and who dies. It explodes with life at the start of the year, but slowly fades away as months pass, and each inhabitant of this desert simulation will face the ultimate challenge: survival. But how will they work together or against each other in such a harsh environment? To find out, we start at the beginning. To simulate a desert, I needed a tank large enough to mimic the vastness of the wild. I chose this, a 4 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot tank with a white background to help replicate the blinding light of the desert sun. Next, I brought soil, cactus wood, and rocks, handpicked from an actual desert to complete the environment. But just like the wild, we need some sort of food for everything that will live in this simulation. Say hello to the plants. Built to endure extreme dryness and heat, yet vital to creating the oasis that everything in here will depend on. These plants will be a food source for the predators as well as the prey. However, like every thriving ecosystem, it needs a cleanup crew. And this simulation is no different. Meet the darkling beetles. They will feast on the rotting plants and wood inside of the tank, recycling the organic matter back into the soil. Their kids, superworms. These worms will aerate the soil and help keep it healthy for the plants to grow and thrive. Next up, we have roly-polies. These guys are the unsung heroes of sanitation. They eat poop. That's right, they're gonna be eating all the poop that accumulates in this tank over the 100 days, making sure the ground doesn't become a medieval sidewalk, if you know what I mean. Last but not least, springtails, the tiniest members of the crew. These little creatures will eat mold and fungi, preventing any outbreaks that could disrupt the delicate balance of this ecosystem. It's day 1 and spring has arrived. Heavy rainfalls start to transform the desert, giving everybody a drink of some much needed water. The soil and plants will absorb this water, storing it for the dry months ahead. Meanwhile, the inhabitants come out of hiding to drink, to bask, and thrive in the wet spring air. By day 3, grass and tiny plants begin to sprout, fueled by the rain. As the days go on, plants are growing even crazier. Insects have started families, and many are patrolling this desert oasis, eating their fill and having the time of their lives. But the peace is short-lived. Toof has moved in, and her presence changes everything. The ornate Uromastyx. Though primarily a herbivore, she won't hesitate to snap up anything moving to survive. And with breeding season underway, she's looking out for any and every resource she can find to ensure her offspring have the best start in this harsh environment. In a small area of the tank, some baby superworms are eating some dying vegetation. They're enjoying the warm, wet grass, eating their fill, hoping to become beetles and make families of their own. But Toof has spotted them and quickly makes her mark, attacking and feasting on the children that wander too far from safety. Her dominance sends a clear message. There's a new queen in town, and survival just got a lot harder. As spring continues, the oasis is still full of life and opportunity, which attracts yet another visitor, a male Uromastyx. Boomy has entered the Badlands. Toof is no longer alone. Drawn by instinct, he's been looking for a mate since winter has ended. He has found his queen and immediately shoots his shot. He grabs Toof and begins his dance of love, trying to win her over. And their love is strong, but very short-lived, only lasting a couple of seconds. But its impact will outlive them both now. Toof is carrying the next generation, and her focus shifts. She's a mom now. Her new priority is to make sure she can gather food to nourish the babies and to find the perfect nesting spot. Days go by, and she frantically searches the oasis, searching for a place warm and moist enough to incubate her eggs, and if she fails, both her and the offspring will perish, as her eggs will rot inside of her if she can't find the perfect spot and never lays them. After days of searching and eating, the desert is barren. Many of the plants have been picked clean from Toof, many of the bugs hide throughout the day in fear they will be her next victim. But Toof has done it. She's found a place to lay her eggs. She's ready. Toof begins to lay her eggs finally, deep in the darkness of her new nest. It is an extremely long and exhausting process for her body. And when it's all done, 9 eggs were laid. She's skinny, tired, wore out from all the hard work, but she continues to stay out to patrol. She's determined to keep her role as Queen of the Badlands, but not only that, to protect her young. But it's too late. The eggs are gone. They're no longer in the nest. Someone has stolen them. That someone is me. This was something that was bothering me the entire time since the start, and I couldn't risk leaving the eggs in the tank. I didn't know if I could maintain the right temperatures and humidity underground like I was able to above ground. So my anxiety got the best of me and I interfered. I went into creative mode to remove and place the eggs in an incubator. The incubator will make sure the eggs hatch and that Toph's hard work wasn't for nothing. After all, this is my first ever simulation, and I didn't really want to fail with this part of the process. After all, these eggs need high humidity and temps of a constant 90 Fahrenheit to hatch, and I wasn't sure if I could maintain that deep underneath the tank. Day 75. Days go by and Toph has regained her ferocious looks and is no longer skinny. It's only 3 weeks away from the eggs hatching, and I know she's excited to see them. But just when I thought I had everything under control, disaster strikes. Not in her simulation, but outside in my simulation. At day 75, a big storm struck my city and knocked out power all over town. The temperature where I lived went from 105 Fahrenheit to 68 in just 1 hour. At first, I wasn't worried about it, but then it hit me. I have no power, and neither does the incubator. I paced around my room for hours, watching the temperatures in the incubator plummet from 90 to 72 Fahrenheit. Condensation filled the inside of the containers, which is a death sentence for the eggs. At this point, I was devastated. I failed Toph, I failed the simulation, I should have left the eggs with Toph. My own anxiety made me mess with things that shouldn't have been messed with. After 2 days, my power came back on, and I looked in the incubator hoping to see that the eggs were okay. The first thing I see is one of the eggs has exploded. I was so mad at myself, but then I see it. A heartbeat. Somehow, the baby, fueled by the pure will to survive, lived through this crazy situation I put them in. It was honestly one of the most wildest things I've ever seen, and it's a testament to what these animals can do to survive. So I put them back in an incubator and waited. It's now day 100. And against all odds, all the Uromastyx emerged from their eggs, proving that life, even in the harshest conditions, can survive. Every baby was beautiful and healthy, except the one whose egg exploded. He had a very visual sign of this struggle. At the tip of his tail was a deformity, a sharp right turn, a visual marking of the boy who lived, or maybe a visual marking of how my plans changed as well. Regardless, he was actually healthy and even a little feisty, often climbing to the top of his log among his siblings, already marking himself as the leader of the pack. But now that the babies have hatched, it was time to reunite them with their mother. I could finally show Toph that no one stole her eggs and all her hard work paid off. But nothing prepared me for the moment that I showed Toph her babies. It was absolutely breathtaking. Even though I removed them and they didn't hatch in her domain, there was an undeniable connection. She immediately ran up to the babies, and the babies ran up to her. It was an amazing sight to see, and I've never seen anything like this before with any of my lizards. I decided to let Toph in her tank to spend some time with her babies. She greeted them, even shared a meal with them before having a final moment of unity and going their separate ways. After this, I returned Toph to her simulation. She's ready to face the final days of summer now. Her goal in life has been fulfilled, the plants wither, and the insects burrow underground. She patrols her kingdom one last time, preparing for winter's arrival. And Toph prepared very well. Digging a burrow for her winter hibernation, she waits for that first chill. And when it comes, she'll sleep until spring, and when the warm rains wake her, the cycle will begin all over again. If you enjoyed watching Toph's incredible journey, next time I'll show you how I taught Toph sign language as well. So don't forget to like and subscribe for more adventures.